What's up, y'all? All right, I'm going to continue my North Node series. Today, we're going to be talking about North Node in Aquarius in the birth chart and what that means. So, really quick, just to recap, the North Node in astrology symbolizes what we're here to kind of learn in this incarnation and what we're carrying with us from our last incarnation. So, it gets into like past life karma, it gets into like, you know what I mean, kind of where we're headed next and how we reach that next phase of enlightenment or getting in touch with ourselves or whatever. So the North Node is where the moon's nodes crosses the Earth's orbit around the sun. So the North Node is where the moon crosses the Earth in the front, and the South Node is where it crosses in the back. In the ancient times, they called this the dragon eating its own tail. It's like a loop. So these cycles take about 20 years to kind of go through all the signs, and then see, I'm like jumping in really fast though on this, really hot. So I'm like, what have I been talking about? I don't even remember. All right, so if you have, so when we're dealing with the North Node, the North Node is what we are, is outside of our comfort zone. It's outside of what we are used to doing with our energy. Our South Node is going to be where our comfort zone is. Our South Node is going to be kind of our habits that we're already used to, or stuff that we kind of learned through childhood, or, you know, it's going to be our first reaction or our first response. And a lot of times, in order to integrate, to get to the North Node, you have to get through your South Node. You have to master it. You have to not be kind of beholden to it. So starting off with the North Node in Aquarius, the time frames of North Node in Aquarius is going to be July 26th of 26 to March 26th of 28. So in a couple of years, we'll have this thing happen. So last time it happened, there was one day, there was December 14th and December 15th in 2007. So if you're a Sag that was born in 2007, it's possible that you have this energy. And then from December 18th of 07 to August 21st of 09. So this is right on our cusp of when we were going from the very end of the Gen Z kids being born to the Gen Alpha kids being born, with Pluto in going from Pluto in Sag, which is Gen Z, to Pluto in Capricorn, which is the Alpha Gen, the kids that are still being born now until Pluto moves into Aquarius in 24. So then the millennials, if you were born December 1st of 87 to May 22nd of 89, then that's the millennials placement of this. Oh shit. No. Erase that. Millennials, May 22nd of 89 to November 18th of 90. So that's the millennial, right in that mid-millennial phase is this placement, not the other one. The other one I just said would be North Node in Pisces, which I talked about last time. Okay, so then, also this is really interesting. This next phase goes from the end of the baby boomers into the beginning of the Gen Xers. So November 2nd of 70 to April 27th of 72, right to the very beginning of the Gen Xers in 72. March 28th of 52 to October 8th of 53. June 24th of 33 to March 8th of 35. December 3rd of 14 to May 31st of 16. So those are your dates throughout this century and the last century of this placement. So if you have North Node in Aquarius, let's start off with, that means that you have the South Node in Leo. That means that what you're coming to in this life is this, you already have your Leo qualities well developed. You already have your internal sense of pride well developed. South Node in Leo is going to be somebody that's really, playful and fun and outgoing, has good relationships with kids, and is very creative and very passionate and very kind of driven by their heart, right? But on the South Node is not going to tend to make us go towards our best qualities, right? Which Leo is going to want you to be the very best of anything. Of the fire signs, Leo's the second fire sign, and Aries wants to be the first. Leo wants to be the best, not one of the best. And Sagittarius wants the most out of what life has to offer. So if you have the South Node in Leo, you probably have the propensity to be very fun, to be very creative, to be very, to be very childlike and have great relationships with children, and playing games of chance and all that stuff that's kind of associated with the fifth house and with Leo. But the South Node tends to pull us toward the shadow version of that, the dark version, so if you have South Node in Leo, you have the propensity to have these great Leo characteristics. But what it's going to probably, instead of feeling blessed, Alyssa Sharp talked about this recently, about the signs, and she said that Leos should feel lucky. But instead, what they feel is pride. So instead of feeling like, I'm so lucky to be here, and I'm so lucky to have this around me, and I'm so lucky to do X, Y, Z, Leos are like, I'm the shit, and what's wrong with y'all? What is this? What are you serving up to me? So if you have South Node in Leo, you're probably like, I got this. I can handle it. I can do whatever. I'm the best. I'm the one, and if you're not showered in compliments, or if you're not showered in kind of like a golden shimmer of applause all the time, it can be that you get really pissy, and that you get really, you notice it a lot when people aren't giving you your flowers. You know what I mean? So Leos can be great leaders because they can stand up and they use their voice and they roar really loud, but they can also be tyrants. And that's kind of what this placement tends to lead, in my mind. For me, the lesson overall is learning how to master that kingly power, because like I was saying, it's not 12 signs in these other videos, it's 6 axes or 6 poles. So we're always kind of engaging with one by either going towards it or the other one. So Leo and Aquarius are, octaves of each other, in that Leo is about kingly power or personal power. Leo's like, I'm the shit, I'm the best, I am great at this, I'm great at that, and not only that, but consistent, right? It's the consistency that really sets Leo apart, because they follow the same routines. It's like it's the sun rising and setting every day. That's how Leos are. You know what I mean? So you have the ability to be a leader. You have the ability to be somebody that people want to emulate in that way. But what you probably often do is throw tantrums. You're probably trying to control people. You're probably not a delegator. You probably really struggle with the idea of allowing other people to do things, because I have to be the one. It's me. I'm the star. So I think that a lot of the lessons of the South Node in Leo are about self-mastery. And I think this maybe is one of the, I keep saying everyone's the hardest one, or everyone's a different one. I think the lesson for you is learning that not only are you great, but that the other people that are sitting at the table with you also are great. They also are kings and queens. Do you know what I mean? Aquarius, now taking that kingly power from Leo and then going to that other octave of it. Aquarius is people power, right? So if you have the South Node in Leo, you're full, literally full of yourself. You're like, I'm the one, I'm so hot, I'm so sexy, all that prideful Leo shit, right? But in Aquarius, North Node, what we have to learn how to do is then be a part of a community. It's not always going to be on you to have the answer, to solve the riddle, to be the star, to do whatever. When you are in community, sometimes other people play those roles. And that's really hard for somebody that's operating with a lot of Leo energy, because they feel like, well, how come you're not listening to me? How come you're not doing me? But you have to realize that because you, like Leo, the glyph of Leo is the circle with the dot in it, which means that these people operating with Leo energy are whole unto themselves. There's no apparent weaknesses. They just seem to be doing stuff really easy. But when you're in an Aquarius situation, you're a king, right? But you're sitting at a table with kings and queens. You're sitting at a table with people who also are leaders in their field and leaders of their community, and people that are very talented in what they do. So it's not going to always be you going, this is what I think, this is what I think. It's, here's what I can offer. does anybody need this at the table? Do you know what I mean? So learning to be a part of a group, and this isn't necessarily one-on-one. This is when you have the North Node in Aquarius, you feel like you're not a part of the group. You feel like you're not a part of what is going on. And sometimes these group dynamics can maybe escape you because you're so in that Leo South Node of focusing on just your shit and doing what you're doing that you're not seeing that there's 10 brilliant people around you that could elevate your game if you just like opened up and talked to them. So yeah, again, it's not so much one-on-one relationships. It's really the connection of self to group. Who do you identify with? This is like your church group, your school group, your friends group, like whatever, however, in which way you identify with yourself as a group. It's going to be hard for people with North Node in Aquarius to really feel like they belong at the table. And so either for the reason of that they don't think that what they have to offer is a part of the group, or they disdain the group, right? Or they're going, you guys aren't as good as me because of that Leo shit, that prideful Leo shit. So let's see, what else? South Node Leo. Now, to me, there's two types of Leos. And it comes down to the sun god myth in Greek mythology of Helios and Phaedon. Now, Helios is the sun god. He's one of the ancient gods. He's not one of the Olympian gods. He's one of the few gods that still kept their job after the Olympians took over, right? So Helios is driving the chariot of the sun around every day, old faithful, rise in the morning, set at night, rise in the morning, set at night, rise in the morning, set at night. And Leos can be very like that too. Like they just do the same routine day in and day out. It's da-da-da, I do this, I do that. And then it's really hard to shake them out of routines. Like if you try to spring plans on a Leo, they probably aren't going to go for it. So Leo is up there, sun god, just rise above it all. Like the other gods come to Helios to be like, yo, did you see what happened? Like when Persephone got stolen by Hades, Demeter went to Helios and Helios said, yep, I saw it down there because of the vantage point. Leo, like Helios, is just sitting up here in the chariot, just going, look at all you peasants. Hey, you know. So it's either that kind of aloof, godlike kind of, I'm just so great, I'm God's gift, and I'm just here to grace you with my presence and with my vision. You know, I can show you, see things and show you things that other people aren't going to see you and show you. So to me, the other type of Leo is Helios's child, Phaedon, okay? Phaedon was a mortal, and the other mortal children did not believe Phaedon that his father was Helios. So he prayed to Helios and said, let me drive the sun chariot. And Helios said, okay, like, oh, sure. Anyway, long story short, Phaedon, because he's mortal, he could not contain the power of the sun chariot. The sun chariot crashes to the earth. There's a huge fucking catastrophe. The whole earth catches on fire. Millions of people die. It was a fucking wreck. Okay? So when you're operating with South Node Leo energy, to me, you're probably operating on a realm of one or two ways. And then this is going to inform how you go towards your North Node. You're either operating on that Helios way where everything you touch is gold and you're just fine and you just show up and do your thing and it's day in and day out and you just kind of, nobody asks you questions and you just do your shit. Or you're that other type of Leo that is trying so hard and never achieving what they set out to do. And the way that you interact with that energy, either just kind of always being like, whatever, I'm here, I'm the one, get out of my way, move, I'm gay, you know? Or like, oh, I just don't know what to do, I just keep trying. That's gonna be how then you interact with the group at large. Do you know what I mean? If you're feeling like you constantly are belittled or disempowered or everything you try just turns into a failure, you're going to approach that group with insecurity and you're going to approach that group with like, oh, I don't, and then that's going to make the group go not have confidence in you because you're like, you know what I mean? I need you to believe in yourself before then you can convince the group that we need to believe in you. Do you know what I mean? Or you're like, I don't need any input. I'm just the shit. I'm like, whatever. And you're that Helios and you're coming to the table and the group is like, it ain't. It ain't. It is what it ain't, and you ain't all that. So anyways, that's a lot of harping on Leo South Node energy. You probably can be very delightful, but it what you need is an awareness of other people, and especially the other people on your team, and especially the other people in your group. Stop being shitty. Okay, so now to move toward the Aquarius North Node, it really is probably going to feel like like invasive to you. Like you're like, I got a plan, I got this stuff, let's do it. And then everybody's like, oh, well, did you think about this? Did you think about that? Did you think about any XYZ other thing? Like you're trying to have an idea and people are coming at you, blah, 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 blah. So it's going to feel for you like, what's that word I'm looking for? It's going to feel foreign to you to have input from other sources in that way. Because you're so used to having to, one, rely on yourself, because you probably were brought up in a situation where, like, if you have the South Node in Leo, you probably are an only child, or you had the attention put on you in a way to, like, your parents idealized you to make like you're the one, you're the chosen one, or you're the favorite of the kids, or it puts a spotlight on you that maybe has this like unrealistic expectations, like you always have to be perfect, or you always have to shine, or you always have to whatever. Anyway, to move into an Aquarius North Node is also realizing that everybody else also is having their personal journey. So Aquarius is about group dynamics. That's why the waves, it's a series of wavy lines. So Aquarius is about group dynamics. It's about realizing that everybody else also is special. You know what I mean? I want to say snowflakes right now, but in the way that like each snowflake is unique, and yet together they can cover up a town. Does that make sense? Like, so Aquarius energy is mass movement energy. If we're looking at the Saturn cycles, this is just a little divergent. Lori Rivers on TikTok, Astro Lori, talked about the failure of the group to act during right now Saturn and Aquarius. So the failure of the group mobilization is what's going to have us dealing with these pandemics for the next several years instead of moving into endemicity or whatever. So anyways, that's fun. So North Node in Aquarius means you're here to learn how to navigate group dynamics. You have a very well developed sense of self, and a very well, like, you probably lead with your heart. And what you're here to learn how to do is to have that heart and that compassion, but then lead with your head and then connect with like-minded people around you. Leos sometimes have a hard time connecting with groups, whereas Aquarians, because they can speak, people that rock a lot of Aquarius energy are not afraid to rock the boat by speaking. They're not afraid to disturb stuff with new ideas. Do you know what I mean? And to them, I think it's a lot less of a personal ego blow or ego attack if somebody challenges their ideas. I feel like people rocking a lot of Leo energy or South Node Leo energy take it as like a personal ego attack when somebody says, I don't necessarily agree with you. And you're like, oh my God, like it's all over, throw the whole project away. So learning to deal with group dynamics, learning to deal with other opinions, learning to realize that other people are brilliant too, and they can add to you. You know what I mean? Being part of a group can give you that validation that you so desperately want as a Leo South Node. But it's when you have that heart and then you bring it up to that head, because Aquarius is also very much about humanity. It's the age of Aquarius is supposed to be all about brotherly love and fraternity and fellowship and humanity coming together and all of that. So in order to get those high-minded ideals out of that heart, you need to like reach out and connect with people who are like-minded. And it seems really foreign, but once you do that, then you start making those connections where they say, you know what? You're a really fucking awesome person. You're so great. And then that Leo South Node goes, yes, So it's that dichotomy of those things that we want from our South Node, we're not going to get until we embody the North Node. So Aquarius, to me, kind of has a little bit of energy of like the Swords family in the tarot, where they're very passionate people, and I'm not saying they're robots or that they don't have emotions, because they certainly do, but they have the unique kind of ability of all the signs in the zodiac to distance themselves from their emotions a little bit, to say like, okay, I need to take a step back. I need to look at this objectively. And then now how can I dissect it, and what new viewpoints can we take away from that? So yeah, what else? Aquarius. If we're moving from Leo to Aquarius, from a Leo south node of a heart-driven, heart-centered, prideful place, to Aquarius is breaking the mold. Aquarius is traditionally ruled by Saturn, which can be like heaviness and depression, even though of Capricorn and Aquarius, the two traditionally Saturn-ruled ones. Aquarius is the lighter version, and Saturn is the more heavier Saturnine version. But we have to learn lessons through groups of people, through generations. We have to learn lessons collectively when we're dealing with Aquarius energy. So if you're here to learn Aquarius energy and deal with that, you're here to probably learn how to like connect to people, to influence groups in a way. We need to learn your oration. We need to learn like the message that you have to bring to the table and to the group. And so it's really important that you refine how to speak to the group in that level, and how to like get your message out there in that way. Because if you're spending your whole life in that Leo, if you're going inward, if you're going toward the self, if you're going towards my thing and my project and my stuff, you're going to find that you end up being alone. You're going to find that you end up burning people with that hot Leo energy. You're going to find that you like, where you want to connect, you want that Aquarian North Node energy. But if you keep going self, if you keep relying on me, you're going to keep creating situations where you push people away. But if you allow yourself to shine, if you allow yourself and other people to also shine, because chances are other people are going to be better at you than these things that you're trying to do in whatever walk of life, right? It's always going to be somebody that's better than us. Like, just get over it. That's Aquarius energy. That's humanity. There's millions and millions of people in here. Nobody's unique, but yet nobody can do you. Do you know what I mean? So that is your Aquarius North Node, Leo South Node energy. Get into pulling up a seat at the table. Get into using your voice and feeling like you belong. And get into getting outside of your comfort zone by getting to know more and more people, by realizing that it ain't just you out there. It's not all reliant on you. There's other people out here. They can help. They want to help. And they want you to bring what you uniquely have to the table. Because I think Aquarius is not just group dynamics, but it's also how each person in the group is an individual and individually contributes to that group dynamic. So that's kind of what you're here to learn in this life. That's kind of what you're here to vibe with. And blammo, if you want to get a reading, hit me up. Bye.